That was Winston revealing hidden musical talents in Newgam. Next up on Channel 4 is Media Manipulation, a documentary based on how youths are portrayed in the media.
A lot of the stories in the media are sensationalised, especially in regards to young people.
It is clear that the media often present young people in a negative way. Many say that the word youth has been associated with a negative stereotype.
Violent, aggressive,
deviant,
rebellious, troublemakers.
Stereotyping has also been included in TV, film and dramas when covering young people's sexuality. The media seem to portray young males as predators and females as easy sexual targets.
Nowadays there's like a lot of sexual scenes on TV, a lot more than it used to be like years ago.
Most media platforms also lack in showing positive images of lesbians and gay teenagers on TV. However, showing positive representations of young homosexuals and heterosexuals on TV can help challenge bullying and discrimination. The presentation of alcohol and drugs associated with young people in the media has received both scrutiny and criticism. Alcohol use in television programs and advertisements influence the public's negative portrayals on adolescents. Is it fair that the media portray youths as perpetrators rather than the victims? Gangs and violence has spread over our TV screens, deliberately highlighting disturbing events, making it seem more spectacular than it actually is. Figures show more than half of the stories about teenagers in newspapers. In the past year, 75% was about gangs and violence. News has represented young people as violent and irrational group of youths who go around causing trouble on the streets of London. The news has used sensationalist language when talking about gangs and violence. The term gang has now been applied to describe any group of youths who are at least in a group of 4.
Whenever I see a group of young people, it just makes me feel like I want to cross the street.
Is this a fair generalisation of young people?
When I'm with my friends in the group and adults see us, they feel intimidated by us, and I don't really like it because we're not really doing anything.
Last year, during the rioting, around 78% of the public believed that the media represented youth in a negative light. This increased the public's concern about the escalating problems related to young people.
And I think the media like to glamorise things, don't they? So they'll always make things sound 100 times worse than what they really are.
Is the media taking it a step too far?
I went to talk to some experts to see what they thought about how youths are represented through the London riots.
It's an issue that's very current at the moment, how youth are represented in the media, particularly after the summer and the riots. I think that whilst there is a diversity of ways in which the media are represented, there was definitely a significant shift last summer in how young people are represented. There was a sort of a backlash of really quite negative stories about young people.
The news paid major emphasis on the fact that it was just young people and young gangs who took part in the London riots.
In the press, the youth got quite a bad time, because I think a lot of people might have been under the impression that the riots were taken part in by mostly youths, but actually we found out since that isn't the case. Actually, a lot of people that are arrested were youths, but even more people that are arrested were actually adults, and a lot of them were teachers. A lot of them were, had really, really good jobs, and people who you wouldn't expect to get involved with that kind of trouble.
So why did the news only focus on young people during the London riots?
All that people are interested in from news media outlets is stories of young people drinking, throwing up in the street, fighting, and generally making exhibitions of themselves.
In the London riots, the imagery of youths has strongly affected the public's judgment on young people due to the heavy negative news press.
I think the media showed the youth in a very negative way. I think a lot of the media was based around showing young youth causing the riots on TV, on radio stations.
I think it was a true representation of the way the youth were portrayed in the media, because I feel like they're all violent, I think they're all angry and I think they're all aggressive.
63% of the public believe that the media had influenced their view on young people.
If it wasn't for the media, I wouldn't have such a negative view of youth.
Society shouldn't be influenced by the media as they tarnish young people under the same brush. But this is the only way that the public can get an insight on the characteristics of young people.
The media knows that young people don't have a voice, so they use this at their advantage. They make us look violent, but we just want to be heard.
After the break, you will find out what youths think of how they were represented in the news through the Student Fee March protest.